All right, happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Hat Creek Interior Studios. Hope your Thanksgiving weekend, whatever we want to call it at this point, the day after has been great. It's been great for us. Happy birthday to my mom, 82 years young today. So we've had a good, fun day here in Raiderland. We're going to cap off the week the only way we know how, hanging out with you guys, getting your score predictions for the Red Raiders and the Mountaineers. Does the cover machine roll on? 10-1 this year against the spread. That means right now, 23-point favorites for the Red Raiders. Give us your score predictions and concerns if you have any. We've got college football as a whole to look at. The Lane Kiffin hoedown in Starkville today, taking care of Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. And now, a very tough, poignant decision must be made by Lane Kiffin. You can give us the most Texan thing you've done this week. And then, of course, we've got NFL to look at. Every underdog wins over Thanksgiving and today. I don't know what to believe anymore. Are you buying what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are selling? And is this the end for the Chiefs? Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs era, 1.0, 1.0.5. Is this over? Is it time to look now to a different future for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs after what we saw there in Dallas? Well, we couldn't really see it because the sun was in our eyes. I don't know. You tell me. Get out on the United Supermarkets chat line tonight. Share it with your friends, whether you're on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Maybe you're on Facebook Live tonight. Maybe you're on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media. We're glad you're here. We can't wait to hear from you on the United Supermarkets chat line in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, Raiderland.com. Happy to be here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios. Custom furniture and accessories, great for your Christmas list items, guys. Go check out the showroom in Lubbock, 10101 South Slide Road, or just hit them up on their website, hatcreek.us. They're great to follow on Facebook. Just the best Western-style furniture you're going to find in the country, and they will ship to you. We're also brought to you by The Reserve Culinary Tavern, 103rd and Quaker. Great place this weekend to take in the game. They'll open up early. The brunch will be in full effect. The acoustics are so good at the Reserve, you can hear the TV broadcast and have a great conversation with your friends. It's absolutely perfect. Don't sleep on the onion rings, as good as it gets. And after all the turkey and dressing and all that kind of Thanksgiving food, man, don't we need some hot wings and onion rings and things of that sort? Now, if you're looking for, more traditional fare, they've got it too. Go by the Reserve. Tell them thanks for supporting Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Also brought to you by Ultra Exteriors. Give yourself a new look kitchen or bathroom, or maybe you work on the windows or a roof even. You can give yourself a Christmas gift. Our man Warren Hudson's going to make it happen for you at Ultra Exteriors right here in Lubbock, Texas. They service the entire South Plains. Tell them we said hey. All right. Getting your comments, questions coming in on the United Supermarkets chat line. We appreciate that. We appreciate the supermarket that takes care of Texas Tech and West Texas. So, Texas Tech, 10-1 against the spread this year. Nobody better in college football. Ohio State, number 2 at 9-2. Tech, 23-point favorites. The total right now is 52.5. I have this going over. I will not draw out in long suspense my prediction. It's 45-13. Texas Tech will take care of business. Joey McGuire understands the importance of not just winning, but yes, style points still. You have to go into next week having throttled just about everybody you can throttle in the Big 12. You've got to beat a West Virginia team that's down in the skill positions, freshman quarterback. They run it about 66-something% of the time, but only for a 3.3-yard average. So I think 170 yards a game, but a 3.3-yard average. It's entirely possible Tech's defense could keep them under 100 yards total rushing offense tomorrow. We'll see. The weather looks good, and by that I mean it's not wet and it's not windy. About 34 degrees at kickoff, no wind, dry track, should stay that way during the game. The biggest concern I would have had in order, really high winds at that stadium, hurt your kicking game, or wet. Wet, not snow, wet. You get none of that. It's a fast track. It's a fair track. I'm going 45-13. You can get Baron Morton out of there at halftime, I think, in this game. Let Griffiths carry it in from there. But you need to hang a number. So give us your predictions on that. And then we got so much other stuff to talk about. Lane Kiffin, The Lane Kiffin hoedown. Everybody come see him. He's taking the show. Well, or is he? Do you think, is there any chance he stays? There's no way in hell he stays at Ole Miss, right? There's no way in hell he's going to bed tonight thinking I got to make a decision tomorrow. No, he has to inform the people of the decision he's already made probably weeks ago. North Texas, they continue rolling on. Big win for Eric Morris. He won't be hanging out with, I think, in Stillwater for another couple of weeks. And then you had Kansas kind of being back to being Kansas, right, this year. They tried against Utah, but just wasn't there. And then we've got the Arizona State deal. We'll pay attention. And as we speak right now, I believe, are we underway yet down there in Austin? Are we playing football yet? I mean, theoretically, if you're a Tech fan, A&M losing would knock somebody out ahead of you. But really, who cares? Just go win tomorrow. Go win the Big 12 title game. You're going to move past somebody in the SEC. Don't really care. I'll probably root for A&M no matter what. Let's get it going on the United Supermarkets chat line. Who's going to lead us off? He is our man, our correspondent from out west. Now he calls the Lone Star State home. 41-16 Tech, 41-16 over West Virginia. I almost read that. 41-16 West Virginia. And Lane isn't a hoe. He's a high-dollar escort. That's completely different. For those who are aware of the story about a guy, reporter who covers Ole Miss, said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife on a podcast. It got back to Lane Kiffin, and that's what he really cared about today. And he challenged he looked like a fairly young guy, and he challenged him that, basically, you want to come say this in there and see what happens? Well, Lane Kiffin's standing there with 6 cops. What do you think the dude's going to say? Yeah, get rid of your security. Meet me in a dark alley. Bring a switchblade. Please, Lane, we got a lot of thoughts on Lane. He's going to make it very interesting. Why do you think he can win big at LSU? Where's he won big at? Ole Miss, 1 year, not done yet. Old Texas Tech man, 91-44. West Virginia, a lot of injuries. One of their top running backs out. Dior Hubbard out. Yeah, they're down huge in the running game, and that's what they've tried to do. So it ain't good. Let's see. Can you say my name, please? My name is Julian Crude. Or is it Julian Crude? There you go. Happy Thanksgiving. Praying for a sinkhole to open up under DKR tonight. It is a wee bit like watching Red China and Russia get together, isn't it? Laz Buddy. Old Texas Tech man, I believe he stays high. So I believe he stays high. Got a good thing going for him at Ole Miss. He's going to stay high, everybody. He doesn't do that anymore. Come on now. I thought for a minute he might stay there. He's gone. He's just gone. Did I see from videos Gil Howard not on a scooter anymore? I don't know. I haven't seen any of those videos. If he's not, that's great. That sounds like the rehab has come along well. That would be very good for him. I don't expect him to contribute in a meaningful way to this team this year, though. Alan, they're playing Beyonce country songs for this game to hype up viewers. Typical for these silk pajama schools. Yeah. And then there's the halftime show at Jerry World yesterday. The Arabian bots in the chat because you put ho in the slug. I don't even know why I'm here now. Alan, you can take over the rest of the show. I didn't even put it in the slug for this. That was just the teaser slug there on Twitter. Tech ATS, all the faves is the amazing thing. Seen a lot of 500 teams that were good dogs and had that record. Yeah, you're built different when you're covering and winning. Covering and losing, yeah, you're playing close games. The point JC making right there. It's one thing to cover. It's another thing to be winning and cover. Good teams win. Great teams cover. Chris, Lane should go seek input from Ole Miss's basketball coach. There you go. Seek wisdom from your elders, if not your betters. Jeff, Kiffin would be a stupid to leave Ole Miss. Expectations are high at LSU. I agree. I think he should stay at Ole Miss. If he's leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU and they're 10-1, is he saying that he can't win? I can't remember who said this today on Twitter, whether it's Steve Fezzik or Chris Felica, but they made a great point. If he's leaving Ole Miss right now, he's saying Ole Miss can't win this year. He's basically saying Ole Miss can't win a national championship this year. At 10-1 and not going to be in the SEC title, but in the playoff. But he's saying they can't win. So why is he even bothering to coach Ole Miss? Why should Ole Miss be in the playoffs if their own coach doesn't think they can win? Jeff, on the score prediction, I've got it 45-13, another cover by Tech for a lot of different reasons. Your concerns, if any, going into the game. 31-13. I think Tech's got to score more than that. If Tech doesn't score at least 34. And I think they'll score 45, and that's calling the dogs off. Alan, covering and losing makes you Iowa. It is true. That is factual. JC Double T saying Lane stays and then wants the committee to bump by the announcement. They're locked in. There's no committee bump that they're going to be able to get, pretty much. They're going to be in if he stays. Now, if he loses, if he leaves, does the committee say not the same team and they keep Ole Miss out? Yeah, not the same team. Can't be rewarded. It's hard to turn down $90 million. I'd do it every day. James goes with 49-10 Texas Tech. That would not shock me either. West Virginia is going to have to get some absolute gifts from Texas Tech to score more than 13 to 17 points, in my opinion. They don't throw it well. Freshman quarterback, not accurate, not very good. They run it to protect him, and they run it a lot, and they don't run it effectively. Again, 3.3 yards per carry. That could easily be like 2 yards a carry tomorrow. I don't think they can put any scoring pressure on Tech. It then becomes a matter of this offense, and you expect it to look pretty good. You've got Baron Morton as rested and as healthy as he'll be the rest of the year. It's not going to get any better with the tibia. It could get worse, theoretically. It ain't going to get better. Robert Delgado, Tech 45, West Virginia 10, Texas Tech rolls. JC coming in, top rope 52-10. James, will the weather be a factor tomorrow? I don't believe so. It's going to be cold, and it'll be damp. It's going to be 34 degrees with your typical kind of winterish humidity, but dry. No precip expected. They're getting off and on some snow showers in that area tonight, a little bit of moisture tracking. But by noon tomorrow, West Virginia time, it should be about 34, 35 degrees, and that's about as high as it's going to get. But there's no wind. There's zero wind. So you give me that with no wind, and it's a dry track, and the weather doesn't matter. I would say that Texas Tech is a better team for the weather if you have to play a bad weather game because you got a defense that can shut anybody down. Just go find me 20 points. Chris wants to know if Tech was wearing black helmets, it would be the perfect road look. Yeah, it's a good road look. Again, I'm not a fan of the white helmet with the. If you want to go old 1973 Jim Carlin white helmet, red face mask, and all that stuff, okay, yeah, okay, but that's not what this is. It's a mishmash, as I call it, not a throwback. So yeah, I wish they would have gone with the black. Actually, I wish they'd gone black over white over red. That would have been kind of cool. Alan, Joey will run up the score if he can. He won't. He need it in the red zone tomorrow at the end of the game. Depends on how much they're up at the end of the game. But let's say there's 2 minutes to go, and you can get to 45-13 that way. You're going to do it. JC, is there a chance Aggie gets boat raced? They have literally played no one. I would be shocked if Texas won in a boat race, as you say. We underway there yet, or are we still waiting to go? I've got a couple of windows open on this, and it doesn't look like we've kicked off down there. I really don't have a great feel for that game. Obviously, 2.5-point favorites, A&M on the road, but we'll see which Aggie defense shows up. Kind of expect maybe both defenses actually to look good early on. Maybe both teams a little tight. I kind of lean to the under. I think the under's around 54 or something on that game, so I lean a little bit more low scoring game. But I think Texas A&M probably gets out of there. If they don't, so Aggie. Jeff, Tex D is better than the Chiefs D. That's KC's problem. Chiefs defense is not the problem. Chiefs problem, offensive line, run game at times, but mainly offensive line. And then the defense, it's hanging in there. It's not great. It's not bad. But it's offensive line. It's just age. It's just everything that has picked them apart. And again, they told you this last year with 12 single-score games that they won, that last year they were teetering on the precipice. And culture got them through it, and culture got them through the Indy game, and culture can only get you so much. Bigger question, and I think this is the end of this era for the Chiefs, and that they've got to retool. And they're going to have to do it fairly quickly and figure out how they want to do it. And then you got to figure out, is Andy Reid the guy who wants to retool for, a year or two, and then 2-3 years from now come back and be strong and make runs again? I mean, there's a couple of teams in the AFC that are kind of asking those questions. Baltimore, I think, can ask those questions right now. Buffalo might be asking those questions, I think, right now. McDermott, is he the guy that you want to do this with going forward? Is really a fascinating year in the NFL in flux. Not flock of seagulls. But are you buying what the Cowboys are selling right now? Eagles lose today. Eagles had none squat in the last nearly 7 quarters of offense, it feels like. So what are we buying? Michael, good question. I like this one. Which city's weather is worse for the away team? West Virginia or Arizona State? So hyper hot early at Arizona State. Hard to duplicate that. Potential late in the season at West Virginia, hyper cold, hyper wet, hard to duplicate that. You rarely see lines adjusted based on heat. You see lines adjusted based on wind and water more than that. So I'd kind of leave it at that and say maybe Arizona State late more than maybe West Virginia late more than Arizona State early. Alan, Joey should be Steve Spurrier tomorrow. Fake punt up 30, flea flickers, all of it. Empty it. Empty the playbook. Now, that'll be the Big 12 title game when they win by 35. Kickoff 36. Kickoff 34, 36, depending on where you look. Could be 36, could be 34, could be 35. All right, you guys, we're going to hang out as long as the conversation is good here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios. Hey, what's the best thing you ate this week? How'd the meals go yesterday? Today, leftovers. Maybe you had, maybe you're one of those, families that you got like Thanksgiving. We do a brunch, then we do an evening dinner, and then you can just roll right into it today and keep on going if you got more family in town. But you can give us the best thing on the menu, what you enjoyed the most, if you want to knock that out. Any other college football thoughts from Big 12? We're Arizona fans tonight. Arizona favored in this game by 2.5. Is that an 8 o'clock kickoff our time? I cannot remember. I mean, do you want to go to bed if you're Tech tonight knowing you're already in the Big 12 title game? Or do you want to wake up tomorrow with that same sort of Damocles hanging above you that you've had since you lost to Arizona State, which has basically been you've got to win every game? That you've got to win. That Texas Tech, after that loss, they knew they had to win every game for the most part to get to the Big 12 title game and to have a shot to get to the college football playoff. 45-13, my prediction. Get in on the United Supermarkets chat line as we're brought to you tonight by The Reserve, a culinary tavern in Lubbock, 103rd and Quaker. Drop by, tell them we said hey. And, of course, Ultra Exteriors, if you're looking at doing some home renovations, whatever it is, they can make it happen. So call Warren and tell them I said hey. Kicking out, the Aggies deferred to the second half. I would almost always defer to the second half. Very, very, I'm like 95% of the time would I not, hold on, 95% of the time I would defer to the second half. There would have to be some extreme things going on, either statistically or otherwise, that I would have to think about that. But the middle eight is so important in football that I really want that ball first. Let's see. Alan, Kansas City should shelf the season, get a high draft pick, and rebuild that line. I would have said the same thing about Cincinnati last night. One, I wouldn't have played Joe Burrow again this year. And two, what are you doing winning? Is it Lane to LSU? It sure as hell looks like it. And it's probably that case weeks ago. But he has a very somber decision to make tomorrow. No, you don't. You have an announcement to make. You don't have a decision to make. Chris, nope, not buying the Cowboys. I've seen this movie the last 30 years. It sounds like you were sitting in my living room last night listening to one of my best friends talk about how he just can't, he almost wanted the Cowboys to lose because hope is a dangerous thing. It's horrible, and you know what's going to happen. They're going to play good for a couple, and then just absolutely, the bed, and then that'll be it. And they won't make it, and they won't get a good draft pick, and you'll wander around just like this, thinking you're that close, Jerry. It's amazing. That's almost exactly. I think he even used seen this movie for the last 30 years. Let's see. 12 noon, 36 degrees, partly cloudy. Let's double check his work here. Let's go quickly to the weather bug. Bring up Morgantown, West Virginia. Hourly forecast Saturday, noon local time. And at noon local time, we are showing, there we go, like what we're seeing right here, 36 degrees. There we go, 36 degrees at noon. East-southeast, 0 wind, 0 precip rate. The dew point at 17, 46% humidity, and a 71% cloud cover. It will feel like 36 degrees, with the temp rising all the way up to 38 before the game is done. Jeff, most Texan thing, Thanksgiving for one, made Tex-Mex, tostadas, guac, and queso. Quality, like that. Old Texas Tech man got the Meals on Wheels on Thanksgiving. Good deal. Hope they came through with they come through with some dressing, a little cornbread dressing for you. And could you tell them just don't check the box for the cranberry sauce? Don't do it. Bear down tonight. Chris Carpenter with Arizona. JCTT, you want it over tonight. If you need any motivator, you're in the wrong business. It's not so much a motivator that I would be talking about here. It would be just the idea of, it's not a letdown, but you have percolated with pressure now for so long. Do you almost still want that out there? You want that high. It's almost like the relief pitcher, is great when he comes in with 2 on and 1 out. And he gets out of the inning, but you put him in to start an inning and nobody's on and you struggle. And I'm not saying that's what this team would do. I think this team is more than fine no matter what happens. It's just an odd there's a psychological relief valve that I've seen with teams over decades and decades of covering teams and doing play-by-play and, traveling with them and different things. And then when you get in these scenarios, different teams react differently. I'm not saying that they're not going to lose to West Virginia, okay? And they certainly wouldn't lose because Arizona won tonight. I'm just saying it's an interesting psychological element to this game that you could wake up in a very different landscape than you go to bed in, or they're going to stay up and watch it, so interesting. Now, they don't need it. It's not the motivation. It is the electricity of the moment I'm talking about. 2 totally different things. James, can the Big 12 get 3 teams into the playoff? No. Next question. Depending on what happens, you'll be lucky to get 2. Lonnie, Longhorns, Aggies are exchanging punts. Well, that's an early Christmas gift, I guess. But I suppose we shouldn't be surprised. Early statistical analysis. Reed 2 of 3 for 16, and then Manning is 2 of 4 for 8 yards, really airing it out deep. Yeah, it will not shock me if this game is kind of low scoring tonight and they wander around. I still think A&M's going to win, but it will not shock me at all if this thing ends up being a little bit on the low scoring side. I think both teams have a reason to play a little close to the vest for a while. I'm required right now, because I went to broadcasting school, to remind you it's almost like a heavyweight bout. They're just out there in the middle of the ring right now, just feeling each other out as fighters, seeing what each one has, getting some jabs in, kind of figuring out the style of the fight right now. Lonnie would love 0-0 tie for the final in Austin. Yeah. Better to exchange punts than the Texas doesn't get in with 3 losses, do they? No, they do not get in with 3 losses. And again, depending on what all happens, Carnage, Mayhem, and otherwise, which we kind of limited to the Carnage and Mayhem 2-loss team, could be interesting. All right, couple more minutes left. Give us your score predictions. I want to remind you, Live Life Well Clinic, they're going to be powering up Raiderland Rewind tomorrow, 30 minutes after the game ends. We'll be live with you right here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter X, and we'll recap the game and everything that's about. I want to thank Dr. John Skelton and the crew at Live Life Well Clinic in Lubbock. And hey, guys, if you're thinking about trying to get healthy in the new year, start the new year in December. Call them next week. Make an appointment. Go in. Tell them, hey, Hyatt's been talking about you all year. I want to lose a little weight. What I'm doing is not working. And it may not be because you're not trying hard. You just might not be doing things effectively. Well, they can help you have a new approach there at Live Life Well Clinic. I want you to go to their website or go to their Facebook page and tell them thanks for supporting what we do in Raiderland. They've been huge supporting Raiderland Rewind with us all year long. So we're looking forward to that. We want to thank Dr. Skelton and his staff for being a huge part of it. JCTT, correct. RE motivation, you are correct. Long-term mindset getting interrupted. Hey, and that's a very concise way of saying how you have operated for the last, month and a half, 2 months almost now, that all of a sudden that changes just a little bit. I suppose we can say, hey, good teams handle it, and I think this is a good team. But like I said, I don't think it matters tremendously. But it is an aspect of how you have operated, literally backs against the wall during this stretch from the Arizona State loss. And Joey McGuire made no bones about it at the time and during this stretch that has been just that way. That the goal you wanted to reach was still there. It was still reachable, but you had zero margin for error and still do going into tomorrow. If the unthinkable, unimaginable happens tomorrow, yeah. So we'll see what we're talking about tomorrow afternoon around what? 12, 1, 2, 3:30. About we'll probably hit the air about 3:30, I'm thinking. Depending on how fast this game goes. Be very interesting. Arizona State win helps you from the standpoint of your strength of schedule, RPI type stuff. So you don't really lose either way. There's no downside either way on this deal. And I'm hoping this time tomorrow we're talking about, hey, Tech and BYU Part 2. And really that's what I want to see. I want to see Texas Tech and BYU Part 2 on this thing, and I think it'll be great for the Big 12. And I think it will solidify the Big 12 champion one way or the other. Are the Eagles paper tigers? Well, they rarely perform anymore, and if they do, it's only at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Most of them can't even sing the high parts anymore, so they have to bring in different singers and some backups on that, and even playing a lot of the riffs. So, I would say that they're not really who they used to be by any stretch of the imagination. That's just for my money. And I certainly wouldn't pay the money people pay to go see them. Have the Lady Raiders impressed me so far? Yeah, they have. They've done it against Power 4 teams. They've done it on the road at places like New Mexico. They won easily yesterday. Where was that? Was that in Frisco? Yeah. They won easily against North Texas. I'm seeing everything you want to see out of a non-conference schedule. The only thing you just sit back and go, okay, they've had some pretty nice records the last few years in non-conference, hadn't been able to translate it into Big 12 play. But everything I've seen so far, they have my attention. They seem to be hitting all the areas you want to look good in, they're looking good in. And improving in the ones that maybe, at the start of the season, and maybe a few turnovers here. You like what you're seeing. Of course, until you get into conference play, you just don't know. I hope so, though. Jet turkey sandwich. Who you calling a jet turkey? You talking jive turkey? Happy Thanksgiving, all you jive turkeys out there. Even you, Lamont, you big dummy. Timbo talking trophies. Trophy in the hole in that trophy case is the main thing. The Big 12 trophy size hole. The Big 12 trophy will be great. It's only a milepost on the road you really want to travel, which is the college football playoff now. That I hope for this program, Big 12 trophies are just something you collect on the way to getting into the playoffs and doing great in the playoffs. That I would liken it to teams who win division titles in the NFL. I would love for that to become the norm at Texas Tech. When you ain't got one, though, you need to get one. When you get one of them suckers and put it in there after you win there in Arlington, that'd be a good thing. Get that thing first. Because if you get that, then you're going and doing the things you really want to do. All right, you guys have been awesome tonight. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending time with me on Thanksgiving Friday and getting ready for the game tomorrow and getting ready for Raiderland Rewind. It means so much to me. It means so much to our sponsors like The Reserve, a culinary tavern in Lubbock, United Supermarkets. Many of you probably were there today. Ultra Exteriors, and of course here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios, where I need a hat. I'll wear a hat sometime, even though they don't sell hats. Isn't that interesting? That's right. Just great Western style furniture. Remember, you don't have to own a ranch to live like you do, thanks to Hat Creek Interiors. But I can't tell you how awesome it is that you guys chose to spend a little time with us tonight. I feel like it's extended family. It's fun for me, and I enjoy it. And I can't wait to see what we're talking about tomorrow on Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Live Life Well Clinic of Lubbock. So everybody have a great evening. Enjoy the night. Wake up bright and early, ready to go. And we will be back with you tomorrow, 30 minutes after the game. Remember to share this with your friends on social media at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter X, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook and YouTube, all free. We'd love to be at 700 YouTube subscribers by the end of the weekend. So why don't you invite your friends in and tell them we're talking about all the cool stuff that they love. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Everything we got, we archive it right there at theraiderland.com.